Over the last year, I've tried over 50 different pairs of hearing aids. The least expensive was around $99, and then I went all the way up to the latest AI-powered prescription technology. I've tried devices from all the major brands, but I've also tested them out in the real world, spending time with my wife, my daughter, in work situations, and I've kept notes throughout the year of my experiences in these various products, ranging from OTC devices to prescription devices. And typically, once or twice a year, I'll try to come out with a full video on the best hearing aids across categories. So whether you're looking for OTC or you're looking for prescription or you don't even know the difference, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have some pretty good insights on which brands stand out, some of my personal experiences, little things I've noticed about each one, and perhaps enough to get yourself started with a short list that you can then compare and contrast over at Soundly.com. If we haven't yet met, my name is Blake Cadwell. I'm the co-founder at Soundly.com. We're one of the leading destinations for hearing health research and shopping in the United States. You can head over to the site at any time and test your hearing for free. You can also compare different products side by side, or if you're not really sure what you're looking at and you just want to talk to someone, you can always give us a call at 1-833-SOUNDLY. You'll see that number listed at the top of the site. If you like what you see in this video, we'd appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps our videos reach more people. With that, let's dig into the best hearing aids for 2026. Okay, let's get started. And before we talk about specific brands, let me give you a little bit of the lay of the land in the world of hearing health. So you can think of the world of hearing health as split up into two categories of brands and devices. The first is the prescription category. This is where most people end up. They'll go to a local clinic, they'll get a pair of prescription hearing aids like the one that I'm wearing now. Typically, for most people, this will be a behind-the-ear style hearing aid, but there are other types of hearing aids out there, and those devices will be programmed by a professional in your local office. Now, if you do go over to Soundly.com and you're looking at a particular prescription device, you can hit request appointment and we'll help connect you with a local clinic that carries that particular product. We'll talk more about that process in just a second. The second broad category of hearing aids are over-the-counter devices. So these are hearing aids that you can purchase online. We have most of the leading brands available at Soundly.com. They ship to your home with 2-day free shipping. You typically have generous return timeframes, like 100 days for most of the brands we carry. And then you set up the devices yourself, typically using a smartphone app. Now, depending on the brand, and we'll talk about a few different examples in a moment, you get differing levels of remote service. Everyone who purchases at Soundly.com does get an audiology setup call, but for the most part, you can think of this as home delivery and just a little bit more DIY than going into the clinic. There's one other really important difference between prescription and over-the-counter devices, and this is one of the reasons that we keep these in separate categories for videos like this, and that is that over-the-counter devices are only appropriate for those who have mild to moderate hearing loss. The FDA actually caps the amount of sound output that is allowed through an over-the-counter device, so if you have severe or profound hearing loss, they simply won't be able to achieve the volume that you'll need to get additional clarity. So it's possible that you already have a hearing test and you know your level of hearing loss, but if not, you can head over to Soundly.com, take our free test, and we'll give you a chart that will show you the general severity of your loss. So if your chart looks something like this, you could be a good fit for over-the-counter devices, but if your chart looks something more like this, then you'll need to access prescription care at a local clinic. Again, we'll talk lots more about that process in just a moment. Okay, so that is the lay of the land, and we're going to follow the same structure in this video. We'll first talk about over-the-counter devices, then we'll move on to prescription devices, and you'll have a good sense for how the overall market is shaping up for 2026. Feel free to skip around in this video and also take a look at our other videos where we go more in depth on each product and various topics related to hearing health. Okay, so let's dig into the over-the-counter category. We've got 4 brands that we're really watching this year. We expect to be the winners in 2026. These are the brands we typically recommend to folks when they come over and talk to us at Soundly.com. The first is Sennheiser All-Day Clear. This was our best-selling over-the-counter hearing aid in 2025. We fit thousands of customers with this product. It's a Bluetooth hearing aid, rechargeable, has 20 hours of battery life on each individual charge. The Bluetooth connection is really seamless with both iPhones and Androids. It has that behind the ear format that I was talking about, which tends to be really comfortable in most people's ears and also gives really good sound quality in complex situations. Now, interestingly, Sennheiser All-Day Clear is manufactured by Sonova. which is the largest maker of hearing aids globally in the prescription market. So you essentially have Sennheiser coming off the same factory line as some of the leading prescription devices, which we'll be talking about momentarily. That's one of the reasons we love this product. It's very durable, has great sound quality, and generally we find our customers are really happy with this product. So if you're looking for kind of an overall well-rounded, good value product, Sennheiser is a good one to look at. A product that a lot of people will compare to Sennheiser hearing aids over at Soundly.com is Jabra Enhance Select. So this product has the same form factor. It's actually just a little bit smaller. It's a rechargeable device. Sits behind the ear, that speaker plays sound down into the ear. It's a little bit more expensive. Sennheiser typically is around $1,000 for a pair of hearing aids. Jabra Enhance Select is typically around $2,000. One of the reasons for that delta in price is that with Sennheiser, the product is shipped to your home. We will get on an audiology setup call with you, but you're the one pushing the buttons. So you actually have a smartphone app, you're taking a test, you're programming the devices yourself. We can walk you through that process, but you're the one making the changes. Now with Jabra, it's a little bit different. You order the product the same way. We ship it to your home, but then an audiologist can actually log into the hearing aids and make changes remotely to these devices. So Jabra Enhance Select somewhat splits the difference between a prescription experience that you would expect in local clinic and an over-the-counter delivery method. Comes to your home, can be a little bit more convenient, and can be a bit more cost-effective. So people will often think about Sennheiser or think about Jabra. That's where we tend to find that folks are gravitating if they're open to the receiver in canal or behind the ear format that we talked about. Now, we also talked to a meaningful number of folks that are not interested in that behind the ear format. They're not interested in something that sits behind their ear. Maybe that's because they wear a hard hat, or they simply don't want it to be visible, or they have some other reason that they don't prefer that style. So we have a couple of styles in the over-the-counter market that are a good fit for those folks. The first is the Nuance audio glasses. Now these were new in 2025, and they're one of the most interesting products on the market. They have an open ear speaker that plays sound directly down into your ear canal. So as I turn my head, I'm actually hearing whatever I'm looking at. So an array of microphones is reaching out and grabbing what I'm looking at and sending it back as sort of a boost down into my ears. When you purchase this product from Soundly, it comes with transition lenses, so it functions as a pair of sunglasses, but you can take the device to your optometrist and swap the lenses out for prescription lenses as well, if that's your preference. The glasses are rechargeable. They come in a few different colors and a few different styles. You can check all of that out at Soundly.com and compare the different models and styles. I wasn't sure what to expect with this product as we brought it to folks at Soundly.com, but we've had a lot of folks who've been really excited about it and have found it's extremely beneficial, especially in background noise situations where they just need that extra boost. People also just love that it keeps their ear canal open, so they don't have to have something inside of their ear canals, which can be one of the challenges of getting used to hearing aids. The other alternative form factor to look at in the OTC category is an invisible in-ear style. So if I take this device out, I can swap it out for this tiny little invisible hearing aid from Eargo. This is the Eargo 8. I put it in my ear canal and turn to the side. Basically, no one's going to know that I'm wearing a hearing aid. It goes all the way into the shadow of my ear canal. So this is a very discreet option. Comes from this company Eargo, which is not one of the largest manufacturers in the industry, but they have been around for over 10 years. They have a lot of stability in their products. This is, as the name would indicate, Eargo 8, the 8th generation of the product. They've been doing this for a very long time. And their overall engineering and their ability to compact so many features into such a tiny device is really impressive. Now, one thing to note with both Eargo and Nuance Audio is that these are not Bluetooth streaming devices. So if you want a device where you can listen to podcasts or take phone calls, you'll want to go with a receiver and canal device, at least in the OTC category. This is just too small to actually get a consistent Bluetooth signal, so they simply don't interact with Bluetooth at all. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have an in-depth over-the-counter hearing aid video dedicated to just this topic. If you know you want to go with OTC hearing aids, you can check that out somewhere up here. I'll talk about a few other options in the market and some more details on each of these brands. But for now, let's switch gears. We'll talk about the prescription devices that are really standing out to us in 2026. Now, the prescription hearing aid world is interesting. You essentially have 6 very mature manufacturers that are available at most local clinics, and the features between these manufacturers tend to blend together. So if you were to put them side by side at Soundly.com and compare the Soundly scorecards, a lot of the features look similar, and that's because they're all watching each other. They make adjustments to their R&D strategy based on what other folks are doing in the category. That's innovation at work. But this dynamic and the general quality of each of these companies makes it difficult to truly power rank these devices. Sometimes it's simply best to go with the device that your local care provider is most comfortable with because they'll know how to get the most out of it. It's one of the reasons that we suggest using Soundly.com as a way to get in touch with a local clinic. You also get benefits like a 60-day return policy, better pricing in many cases, and ongoing care from our team. But we can make sure that we pair you with a clinic that has a lot of experience with the brand that you're interested in. With all that said, we're going to talk through each of the major manufacturers. I'll talk you through some of the highlights from my own reviews of their products, as well as some wayfinding around which product models we think are particularly interesting. And then we'll wrap this section up with a few final thoughts on how to think about the prescription landscape in general. All right, the first product we're going to talk about is Relate. It is our private label hearing aid available through Soundly and available through some other memberships. Relate is a full function prescription hearing aid, customized in a local clinic by a hearing care professional. Relate has lots of different customization options and some really advanced sound management features. It's also rechargeable, has Bluetooth connection to both iPhones and Android using Bluetooth Classic, which is currently our favorite style of Bluetooth connections because it's the easiest to manage. And importantly, you get all of this at a much more affordable price. The national average for hearing aid costs can range from $5,000 to maybe $8,000 for a pair. And if you go to Soundly.com, you can get Relate hearing aids for under $2,000, or if you go to the very premium technology level, Relate hearing aids are around $3,000. Now, the reason for this is that it is a private label hearing aid. It comes from Sonova, the same hearing aid manufacturer that makes Sennheiser hearing aids, so the largest manufacturer in the world. When someone starts a conversation with us and they simply want our opinion on which prescription hearing aid gives them the best value, we almost always point to Relate. So that's one brand to take a closer look at over at Soundly.com. Again, you can click request an appointment. We'll refer you to a local clinic. And from there, you'll get tested and fitted with this product. And then, of course, you can interact with our team ongoing as you have questions or you need further support. We're still here for you along the way. Now, the same process and perks are true as we move to the branded category. So instead of a private label with Relate, we're talking about the brands that you would probably interact with at a local clinic. So the first one to talk about is Oticon. Oticon is one of the largest brands for prescription hearing aids in the world. This last year, I spent time in Oticon Intent, which is their receiver and canal flagship. Again, it has the same form factor that you're probably familiar with seeing by now. These are excellent hearing aids. One of the things that Oticon added with these hearing aids is that they have 4 different sensors on board that are tracking all different types of movement in your body and the soundscape that you're in order to focus the microphone in the right place. It's some really compelling data on how this is helping customers, and we've heard really, really good things about the Oticon Intent. The other product that's been making a lot of news for Oticon is Oticon Zeal. It is their brand new in-ear products. So we talked about Eargo in the world of over-the-counter hearing aids, but in the prescription market, there have been very few in-ear instant fit devices, and certainly very few that allow Bluetooth streaming. And Oticon Zeal promises to do all of that. It's just rolling out now in early 2026. I have not yet done a full in-depth review of Oticon Zeal. That will come out on this channel later this year. But Oticon Zeal promises to be a Bluetooth streaming device that's basically invisible in your ear canal and has the ability to be fit by a local audiologist, so prescription grade. That's a powerful combination. We expect a lot of people are going to be very excited about this product. Definitely belongs on your short list as you head into this year. Okay, so that's Oticon. The next big hearing aid brand in the prescription market is Phonak. This is the flagship brand from Sonova, which we've already talked about a couple of times today, the makers of Sennheiser and Relate. Now, this last year, I spent quite a bit of time in the Phonak Sphere product. This is their flagship. It's built with an AI chip, a dedicated AI chip inside that's specifically focused on cleaning up sound and background noise and bringing you clearer focus. When I spend time in spheric mode, I find that it's actually pretty shocking. It's dropping away background noise to nearly a dramatic level, so much so that I really enjoyed wearing it, but I found I was moving out of spheric mode just to have a bit more of a natural experience. Now, the time that I spent in this product was actually before a firmware update that they rolled out in late 2025, which improved their auto sense capabilities and their AI handling, and also improve their battery life. So this is a really strong product. I also think it's very unique that Phonak put an excellent product out in the market, and then they followed it with a firmware update that a lot of clinics were able to offer for free or for a very low fee. It's great to see a manufacturer pushing a firmware update that effectively gives their current customers new and extra value. There's little doubt that Phonak hearing aids are at the top of the class when it comes to prescription devices. They're using some of the most cutting-edge AI. They have excellent Bluetooth streaming connection, similar to Relate and Sennheiser. They use Bluetooth Classic. And just in general, they're comfortable, well-built devices. You can also get a lot of this same technology in a custom molded in-ear device. So differently than Oticon, Phonak doesn't have an instant fit hearing aid option, but they do have custom molded devices that you can get in various sizes. You can see more about this over at soundly.com. Next up is ReSound. ReSound was actually the first prescription hearing aid that I ever wore, so I always have a soft spot for this brand. And in the last year, they've done a lot to push their product lines forward. So their current flagship is called ReSound Vivia, and the biggest innovations that they put out with Vivia all revolve around artificial intelligence. Somewhat similar to Phonak's story. They're trying to use a second chip dedicated to artificial intelligence to clean up background noise and clarify speech. And similar to the Phonak experience, I find that when I go into this AI mode, it dramatically impacts the amount of background noise that I'm hearing. It's a very comfortable and very clarifying experience. Again, can verge on being a little bit unnatural if I'm trying to stay in that mode all day long. What I've landed on is that I'm using this as an effective tool in tough background noise situations. So for example, if I'm swinging my daughter at the park, that's one of the toughest situations for me because there's a lot of background noise and she's moving away from me and coming back to me. The Vivia is a great product for a situation like that. I'll throw it into the AI mode and I'm hearing with a lot more clarity her voice so I can continue my conversation with her. This is an excellent product. The other thing to call out about Vivia is that it is probably the smallest receiver and canal device on the market, and somehow they've been able to maintain a 30-hour battery life on a single charge. It's an impressive combo. You have a tiny form factor and a long battery life, plus all of this extra power and AI capability. So really excellent product. Definitely highly recommend you check out ReSound Vivia. The next two products are the Widex Allure and the Signia Pure Charge&Go. The reason I'm talking about these two products together is that they're actually sister products. They both come from the same manufacturer, WS Audiology, but they have different philosophies. I would say Signia stands out as an all-around workhorse. I love the charger. The form factor is pretty small and discreet, and they have some really nice ways of handling background noise. Widex often appeals to more of a specialty crowd that wants less sound processing. So often musicians will really enjoy Widex, and that's because it has incredibly fast sound processing. So the duration between when a sound occurs and it gets through your devices and back into your ears is much shorter than the average hearing aid. It's milliseconds for all devices, but these are especially quick. So if you're a musician or you care a lot about high fidelity, Widex can be a good option. Another pair of really well-rounded prescription devices that you might find at a local clinic, and you can certainly compare more over at soundly.com. All right, and then last but definitely not least, the Starkey Omega AI hearing aids are one of the ones that really surprised me this year. I spent some time in their Omega AI devices, and I found that some of the smart features that they built into these devices, like the smart assistant, the fitness tracking, fall detection, even a balance assessment, they really start to blur the line between a health tracking device and a hearing aid. And the sound quality in these devices is really good as well. They're using a lot of artificial intelligence, just like ReSound and Phonak, to clean up outside world sound and make it clearer even in the toughest background noise settings. So Starkey is definitely one that I have my eye on for this year. It's a rechargeable device, allows for Bluetooth streaming. You can check out our full review on Starkey. The other thing to note is that if you're looking for a custom-made in-ear device, so one that's molded just to your ears, Starkey is a great brand to take a closer look at. They're often considered to be the market leaders when it comes to custom molded devices. So they often have the smallest devices. They're really good at the process of manufacturing a custom mold. And some of their devices, even at the smallest levels, actually have wireless connection, which is, as we've mentioned in earlier parts of this video, pretty rare. So Starkey's a great one to look at if you're thinking about a custom molded in-ear device. All right, so if you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with us. We've talked about a lot. We've talked about the over-the-counter category, some of the brands that stand out to us there, and then we've talked about all of the leading manufacturers in the prescription category. You can get more information on all of these brands at our YouTube channel, but you can also head over to soundly.com, compare any of these side by side, spend time looking at their features and more of our thoughts on each individual product. And if you get to the point where you just need a little help thinking through the pros and cons of each of these different models, or even the pros and cons of OTC versus prescription, you can text or call us at any time at 1-833-SOUNDLY. Talking to folks about all this amazing technology is one of our favorite parts of the job, and we look forward to being there for you. I hope this video has been helpful as you navigate the world of hearing aids in 2026, and good luck with your research.